Hello again, and welcome to Masterful Mondays. So it's really good to see you. You should be at the end of your Monday today. This Monday session, our Meaningful Mondays are solely for teachers and educators. So if you're a teacher, good to see you, and I hope your day went well with your kids and with admin and with your colleagues. But it's really good to be able to add to your toolbox every Monday. So Masterful Mondays are for educators, specifically teachers in K-12, and we've got Toolbox Thursdays, which can benefit all professionals. So it's good to see you guys. I'll give everybody a second to log on before we begin. All right, let's get started. So today we're going to be talking about 3 ways to increase your impact. That's 3 ways to increase your impact. So where did this topic come from? This topic came from dozens of teachers speaking to me personally about not being heard in the workplace. So they were feeling that even though they have a bachelor's degree, master's degree, some even with PhDs, the administration, principals, the higher ups, so to speak, were not listening to what they had to say. And all of the meetings, or most of the meetings that they were in, their expertise was not asked. It was not even listened to when they asked, when they wanted to wanted to give their input or their expertise. It wasn't listened to, it wasn't heard. So I decided to put together a mini course really quickly on 3 ways to increase your impact. So this is just 3 ways. There are dozens more, but we'll get into that a little later. So way number 1 to increase your impact, and this worked for me. All of these methods and techniques that I'm speaking to you about, they're not just researched. I put them into practice during my teaching and leadership career. So way number 1 is people have to sincerely like you. Okay, so I know that that's tough for some of you, but people have to really like you in order to be willing to listen, in order to be willing to follow you. People have to genuinely like who you are as a person. So the way to do this, become genuinely interested in other people. And it's okay to have them feel as though that you are interested in what they're saying. Try to remember the person's name during the conversation. That's one that everyone knows about. But it's very impactful when you remember their name versus an immediate supervisor fumbling and mumbling over their name. That makes a really deep impression. Then not only that, be a good listener. I was always told that we've got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Yet and still we speak more than we listen. So a way to have people sincerely like you, be a good listener. All right. Now, with that being said, because you're listening to them, you can also relate to what they're saying, to what they're speaking about. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. So if you're not listening to what they're saying, you don't know what they're interested in. One of the ways that I applied this was I walked into my former principal's office and I saw he had Dallas Cowboy paraphernalia everywhere. Did I know anything about football? Absolutely not. But I made sure to mention, hey, my father was a Dallas Cowboy fan. And we clicked immediately. He started speaking about the wins and the losses and the MVPs. And because of that, that really gave us a very good rapport from day 1. Lastly, really quickly, make others feel important. As I just said, my principal loves the Dallas Cowboys. I had no idea about football. I couldn't care less about the Dallas Cowboys. But guess what? Because I sat and listened and laughed and made him feel as though he was speaking the gold pretty much, and made him feel important, he then was more susceptible to giving me leadership positions in a leadership role, which he did within the next few months. Way number two, win people to your way of thinking. Yes, this is a bit of a chess game. You do have to win people to your way of thinking. You have to be agreeable, all right? So this is how we do this. Show respect for other people's opinions. Never say you're wrong and just leave it at that. If you're wrong, admit it very quickly. It is crazy to be a leader and never think that you're wrong. People don't picture you, they can't imagine you in a leadership position if you never admit when you're wrong. I'd even go as far to say is people hate leaders that do not admit when they are wrong. So definitely, whenever you are wrong, admit you're wrong and admit it quickly. Lastly, to win people to your way of thinking, begin in a friendly way. So begin your idea there in a friendly way. So at our department meetings, I would never start off with, we need to change. These are the things that our chemistry team needs to do. We need to do A, B's. Absolutely not. Because all you are going to get is our team completely shutting down. So with that being said, I knew that if I wanted to create change, number one, I had to make sure that we were all on the same team. They knew that I was in their corner and they liked me. And so I had to begin giving them the rough or harsh news, so to speak, with some sugar first. So always begin in a friendly way. Lastly, number three. Number three is simple. Lead. Yeah, I said it. Lead. Begin with praise and honest appreciation when you are leading. That's number one. As I said, if you begin with praise and honest appreciation, people are more open and susceptible to the things that you have to say. Then talk about your own mistakes before correcting someone else's. So if I, as a parent of three beautiful daughters, if I'm constantly saying, listen, you need to do A, B, C, and D, and I don't come at them with, when mom was your age, she messed up a lot. She got in a lot of trouble for doing exactly what you're doing right now. So if, because that is my approach, my three girls are more open and they're more susceptible to change and to criticism and to correction. So as you lead, make sure you don't have yourself on a high pedestal and you're looking down as like you're holier than thou. That's not a good thing. That's not a good look. What you need to do is make sure that the people who are following you, the people who are under your leadership, understand that you've made mistakes too. And it's okay to make a mistake. And because you've made mistakes, just like they've made a mistake, this is how we as a team can correct them. Ask questions instead of giving orders. This is just one that just popped into my head. So as a leader, if you ask questions instead of giving orders, your team feels more like a team. They don't feel more like you're dictating to them or you're driving what's happening in terms of the department. So ask questions. I would ask questions even to my students, not just to my department, but even to my students. I would ask in the classroom, is there anything we can do about this to solve this problem? Another question I remember asking is, can anyone think of a different way to arrange this? Can anyone think of a different way that we can go about doing this event? And then you need to start saying, we can do it. You need to start allowing your team to feel as though you are invested and interested in their success. So number three, lead. So just to recap real quick, number one, have people sincerely like you. Don't be fake, don't be phony, but people have to like you in order to allow you to lead them. Number two, win people to your way of thinking. That's number two, because you have a great idea. I'm sure you're full of talent and credentials and certifications, and it is your turn to lead. But people have to buy in. So you've got to win people to your way of thinking. Lastly, number 3, lead. Do it. Let's go. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Once you start with sugar, then people will be more susceptible to the changes that you would like to make. So that concludes our Masterful Monday. I will be coming on Facebook Live and doing Masterful Monday every Monday at 4 o'clock. I heard back from a lot of teachers saying 4 o'clock was a perfect time for them. So Masterful Mondays will be every Monday at 4 o'clock. I will be sure to give you tips and tools and feedback. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask your question in the comments section, and I will definitely get back to you. I probably will even answer your question on one of my Facebook Lives. That would be awesome. And so with that being said, I've gotten a lot of inquiries about what I'm actually doing and what I've been up to. And so in 2 weeks, I'm actually launching a course called Can You Hear Me Now? So I've gotten feedback from dozens of teachers. I want to even say close upwards to hundreds of teachers about their voice not being heard from the classroom. It's not as though they want to be in a leadership position. They love teaching. Teaching is their passion. And they do what they love, and what they're passionate about are those students. So with that being said, they're just not being heard from their classroom. So because I got dozens of teachers telling me they're not being heard from their classrooms and they need a way to increase their impact, I've put together an 8-week course called Can You Hear Me Now? This course is for passionate educators that want to increase their impact and finally be heard from their classroom. So I understand you want to be Teacher of the Year, or you might just keep getting overlooked, or you may not want to be Teacher of the Year. You may just want to be noticed or recognized for what you're doing in your classroom. Maybe you want to stay in your classroom and make a great impact amongst your students and amongst their lives and their families, and you don't want to become an administrator. All of that is okay. But at the end of the day, all of those examples show teachers that are needing to create an impact, teachers that need to be heard. So, as I said, in 2 weeks, on February 7th, I am launching a course called Can You Hear Me Now? Solely for educators. This is a relationship and wellness course focused on teachers that are tired of not being heard. If you're interested, type yes right there in the comment section, please. All right. And give me a like, give me a thumbs up. If you like what you heard, if you like Masterful Mondays, just give me a thumbs up. Also, I've launched last week, we started this last week, Toolbox Thursdays. So on Thursdays, I'll also be going live, giving tools for professionals in all different professions. So I hope to see you soon. And as I said, if you like what I said, and if you're interested in the course, go ahead and click the link. There's a link provided for you on top of the page. With that being said, I will see you next Monday on our Masterful Monday number 2. Have a great week. And if you have any questions, feel free to inbox me.